All right, y'all. Let's do this. Cheers. Hey y'all, I'm Catherine. Welcome back to my channel. Hope y'all are having the best day ever. I am here to talk to you today about reasons to elope that you've probably never thought of. So, let's jump in. Y'all, Catherine here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that y'all are enjoying the content so far about eloping and everything about it you could imagine. So, oh my gosh, why are videos so weird? Anyways, as you probably know, elopements are gaining a lot of popularity. This year, Pinterest said that it has seen a 128% growth in searches for elopement ideas. So that's just a little bit of research for you so you can know that this is legit. I'm not just making this up. If you search on Google Trends and search the term elopement, you will also see that the bar graph is going up, up, up. More and more people are trying to figure out how to elope and what that means and reasons why. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is reasons why you might choose to elope instead of have a big traditional wedding. Traditionally, you think of elopements as being less expensive and a lot easier to plan than weddings. And although those are two really great reasons to elope, there are a bunch of other reasons that you might not really be aware of right now. And they also might help you know that eloping is the right way to get married for you. Reason to elope number one, elopements are the eco-friendly wedding. If you didn't know, weddings are pretty awful for the environment. So actually a study that was done forever ago said that traditional big weddings produce over 400 pounds of trash and 63 tons of carbon dioxide. That's the average wedding, one wedding. And so even though things are shifting, it's hard to kind of really estimate and research that exact number. I think it's pretty clear if you've been to a wedding that there's a lot of waste and there's a lot of stuff going on that produces carbon dioxide. So if you think about it, if you rent a big venue, then the venue's having to run lights and AC or heat, and they're having to hire multiple people who have to drive to get to that location. There's so much that goes into just a venue and having to run it that is using up energy and producing carbon dioxide. If you think about how much food is made for a wedding, you never want to run out. So of course, people produce more than needed, and so much food is left over and wasted after a wedding day. It's insane. Not to mention that there are tons of different things like favors and like poppers and just a lot of stuff that is kind of a one-time use that doesn't really matter. And that just goes in the trash at the end of the day. So weddings in themselves are not the most eco-friendly event. So if you choose to elope, you're actually getting rid of pretty much a majority of all of that waste. The waste that elopements do produce is super minimal due to the fact that a lot of people who elope have a lot less people to travel there. Venue, decor, and food are produced on a much larger scale. A lot of couples also choose to elope outside in a national park or national forest, and therefore the venue cost is almost nothing. It's a really natural, eco-friendly space to celebrate as long as you're protecting it and taking care of it while you're there and following leave no trace practices, then it's pretty awesome. Another factor to consider is when you have a big traditional wedding and you invite hundreds of people, all of those people have to travel and attend your wedding as well, which is producing a lot of carbon emissions. And so if you have an elopement and have 20 people or less, that is such a significant impact on your eco-friendly carbon footprint for that celebration. Side note, if you don't know what a carbon footprint is, that's okay. A carbon footprint is how much carbon dioxide your lifestyle produces and puts out into the earth, into the air. So you can calculate your carbon footprint at a few different websites. I'll put one in the description below so that you could go and figure out what that is for yourself. But as we all know, carbon dioxide is one of the leading factors in climate change. And reducing our carbon footprints is a very, very big goal for us to take better care of the earth and reduce the impacts and reverse the impacts of climate change. So that is a carbon footprint. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Happy to help y'all understand that a little bit more and why that's important. When eloping, you're making the responsible and respectful choice for the environment and standing by your values. Reason number 2 to elope. Elopements offer the quiet intimacy that introverts, like me, crave. So if you're an introvert or somebody who just feels like personal things should be personal, the idea of a wedding day might be super terrifying and sound really uncomfortable to you. That is the case for a lot of couples. The thought of getting up in front of hundreds of people, maybe even, tens of people, 50 people, is a lot, especially if you don't spend a lot of time with them, if they're a friend of your parents or a cousin you don't see very often. The thought of sharing your personal vows with your partner and being the center of attention all day just doesn't feel enjoyable to you. And I totally get that. Big weddings can really make things feel like they're a performance and that things are kind of fake and that you're on stage, and that's not really what a lot of people want for their wedding day. So if you're an introvert, eloping might be a really great option so that you can kind of avoid the small talk of little moments that you have to have with every person throughout the day. For introverts, small talk is pretty exhausting, I would know. So instead of small talk, you get to enjoy a small group of people that I know I prefer the most, and you can really invest in your time with them. If you want to invite friends or family, you can really be invested in that experience with those few people and really have heartfelt communication instead of short little bits of small talk. Your wedding is one of the most special opportunities to be vulnerable and open, and I think it's definitely important to create a space around yourself where you feel comfortable to do that, to be there with your partner and to really focus on what life is all about and why you've made the choices that you make, and why you're grateful for your life and your partnership and love and all of those things. So making sure that you're creating a space in the celebration that gives you the freedom to be vulnerable and emotional is important. I'm an introvert myself. I love people, obviously, which is why I do this job, but I enjoy people most in a small setting where I get to connect with them on a more personal level. So I'm here to tell you that that's okay, and that I encourage you to bravely choose to elope instead if that is something that feels uncomfortable and not the best scenario for you. That eloping might be the way to go. Reason number 3 to elope. Elopements are a lot more spacious in a few different ways. So with elopements, your timeline is super flexible. For me, when I create timelines for couples, it's really just a guide for us to kind of understand what the day is going to look like and for us to know when the light is going to be the best. So what time is sunrise, what time is sunset, and we just kind of know those times. But everything else in between is just kind of a rough draft of we're going to make sure we do this, and y'all want to go for a hike, so we'll kind of do this time of day. Around this time is when you'd like to have lunch with your family, maybe. So it's really just super, super spacious for you to feel like you have time to have a cup of coffee and relax and just kind of be for a little bit if you need it. There's no rush. But it's not only spacious in the time frame, but also in the emotional experience that you're able to have. Just like I mentioned in the last reason to elope, Elopements really provide you space to feel all the things you want to feel and take time for those. There's not this hectic, you have to be here, you have to be here, okay, now it's time for this. It's really low key and relaxed. And if it's not like that, then whoever's helping you plan is not doing a good job because it should be so cozy and chill for you. There should be no forcing of anything. It actually allows you to fully experience your wedding day as much as possible rather than it just fly by so fast because of all the tasks and activities that you had to do. You actually get to sit and be present with it. Reason to elope number 4. We are getting super close to the end, y'all. I hope you're hanging in there with me. So this one is kind of American. I don't know why, but freedom. Okay, I'm being silly. So reason to elope number 4 is elopements are pure freedom, which is such a funny way to put it, but I feel like it's definitely the case that you have so much freedom to do whatever the heck you want to do, and that is amazing. Elopements don't have to look a certain way. I specialize in outdoor elopements where we do adventurous, fun, outdoorsy things, so that is my niche, but your elopement doesn't have to look anything like that. You can be downtown in the city, you can just be hanging out in the backyard with your family all day. Your elopement can look exactly how you want it to look. It doesn't have to look a certain way. You also don't have to include any of the traditional things that normal weddings have, like first dances, cake cuttings, what's that little stretchy band around your leg, a garter toss, bouquet toss. Like, none of those traditions are required in an elopement, and they're not required in a wedding either. So if you want to have a big wedding and you don't want to do any of that stuff, make sure you tell your planner and make sure you are pushy about it because a lot of vendors think that this is how weddings go and this is what we do, and are stuck in that traditional mindset. So be very upfront with what you want if you have a regular wedding. But with elopements, it's just not expected to do any of that. If you want to include some things, you totally can. So a lot of couples will still include florals and bouquets and things if they want to. Some couples will do first dances, maybe even up on a mountaintop or by a campfire. So there are options for you to include just things that feel purposeful to you. It's all about making the choice based upon something that seems purposeful and valuable and not just because that's what people do. All right, last one, reason to elope number 5. Now there are so many other reasons to elope, but these are just kind of the big ones for me that I think are really powerful and important. So reason to elope number 5, elopements inspire other people. So a lot of people wouldn't put this as a reason to elope because it's really not focused on you as a couple, but I think it is a really beautiful big picture perspective on why eloping is really powerful. And I really full-heartedly believe and see how eloping is inspiring so many other people to live a life that is true to themselves and authentic to who they are. I know that term is used a lot these days, but it's a beautiful, perfect term that explains knowing yourself and making choices based upon what you value, what you believe in, and what you want your life to look like. And so I have seen couples and talked with couples who have said that family members who really kind of questioned their decision beforehand, people who thought they were kind of crazy and weird, attended the day and said it was the most beautiful thing that they've ever witnessed. And so I really believe that the more that we choose things and are true to who we are, the more it inspires other people to do the same, whether that's in their wedding day or just in their relationships or in their everyday life. We are inspired by other people, and so the more that we follow our hearts, the more that we can encourage others to do the same. So I don't know of a more beautiful or powerful purpose behind a wedding day than that. I think that's something that we can all really rally behind and find a lot of beauty in. And so us kind of breaking away from the mold of traditional weddings, just like with any other kind of thing, allows other people to see that it's okay for them to do the same. And it is. It's totally okay. Eloping and choosing to do things how you want to do them is totally okay, and it is worthy. And if you feel like you want to do it, you should. They really create an environment to where you can be true to yourself in your relationship with your partner, your family, your friends, and even the environment. And I don't know really what could be better, because being you is the most important reason of all. I hope this was really helpful for y'all. Please subscribe if you are interested in learning more about elopements and maybe planning your own or thinking about it. I hope y'all have the best day, and I can't wait to see you again on here. Have a good one. Bye.